This is episode 359 of the Super League Pod. So much to discuss this week despite just 2 Super League games to review. As well as the semis and the disciplinary fallout, we've got the women's grand final to recap, plus playoff action from across the game and some minor finals to talk about too. We also drip feed in our live reactions to the Man of Steel Awards throughout the show and all the way until after we say goodbye. Plus, we make our grand final guesses, so get strapped in. It's SLP time. Hello listeners, welcome along to episode 359 of the Super League Pod. And in a change to, I think, what we discussed last time you were on the show, Alan, you're back a week earlier than we were expecting you. But thanks for doing a swap around with the guys, and we've got you to talk about the semi-finals rather than the grand final. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, yes. We've got to accommodate David's busy lifestyle, of course.
And also... how are you feeling about the Odsal Dome plans? Have you had a chance to check those out? The plans to put a roof over Odsal.
It makes a change from just threatening to fill it in, which to be honest, this season there's quite a few bodies that I wouldn't mind burying at Odsal, but honestly, pipe dreams and Wembley the North and all that BS.
Well, 25,000 seats or whatever they're saying of capacity isn't going to quite cut it as Wembley of the North, but can still be used for other stuff, I guess. The funniest response I saw, because it was Ross Heppenstall, weren't it, who's obviously Bradford reporter or Bradford-based reporter in his previous days. He used to write for the Telegraph and Argus, didn't he, before he got a more national presence. But
he did.
He was the person who reported on it that I saw today on Twitter, and the best reply I saw was someone saying, "Yeah, but how loud's the air conditioning gonna be?"
You've got to love a good callback. That's the comedic way.
There you go. Yeah. Do you want to tell everyone about our sponsor?
Yep, so Super League Pod is supported by Rob's Megastore. Rob's Megastore stocks a wide variety of toys, stationery, arts and craft ideas, pet accessories, books, and of course, Rugby League birthday cards. Search for Rob's Megastore on eBay, or you can find the link in our episode blog post at superleaguepod.com. SLP listeners can use the code SLP10, that's SLP10 at checkout, to get 10% off any orders over £5. Or you could enter SLP discounts and give your 10% towards funding SLP's running costs instead.
Great stuff. So we've got lots to discuss this week, actually, even though there's only 2 main games. It's semi-finals in Super League. It was the semi-finals in the wheelchair game as well, so we'll mention those results. Finals in the women's game, so we've got that to talk about too, the Super League grand final there, and some news off the back of that as well. That was a bit of a surprise. Playoffs continue in the other competitions as well, so in the Championship and League One and the NRL. Plus the disciplinary process gets itself into the spotlight again. Just as we're recording, I see Morgan Knowles has not been successful in appealing his 2-match suspension, but it wasn't seen as being frivolous. I have no fucking idea why, but we'll talk about that later on. And we'll try and keep tabs on the Super League awards as we work through the show. They might start too late, actually, for this recording. We'll certainly have more reaction to them next week on the show after the grand final as well. But if we do have the chance to have any snap reactions to the Super League awards that are being kind of presented tonight on Tuesday the 20th of September, the same night that we're doing this recording. So we'll try and react to that if we can. Alan, we'll see what happens there. A few things I wanted to mention before we get into the meat of the show this week. I just wanted to give a call out for the Rugby League Shirt Day, which is happening this Friday. People might have seen an extra episode of SLP drop into their feeds last week. I interviewed Brian from Six Again, who's one of the main people behind the Rugby League Shirt Day initiative, trying to raise, as well as money for charities close to the Rugby League's heart, the MND Association and the Steve Prescott Foundation. It's also, I guess, about awareness and spreading the Rugby League message out there by using the hashtags, taking your pictures, and getting it as far and wide as possible. So do check that episode out, and do wear your rugby league colours on Friday and get some pictures up on social media and that sort of stuff, and donate to their Just Giving page if you can. All the details are on the episode notes for that episode. That should be in your podcast feeds right now already. The other thing, Alan, I wanted to talk about is we're nearly ready to go live on the 2022 Sloppies, the SLP Awards. We have been a bit sluggish this year, but we're just finalising the shortlist, aren't we, Alan? Because the one we're coming up a bit short on is the See You Next Tuesday Award for generally prickish and knobheadish behaviour in rugby league this year. So we've been having a bit of a debate amongst the hosts, haven't we, about some possible inclusions, and we're not quite confident that some of them have been dickheads enough this year, or some of them might have been dickheads but not, by their own standards, any kind of level of dickhead.
There's generally been a lower level of See You Next Tuesday type behaviour, it feels, this year. There's been a few instances. I think we've picked out a couple of examples. But yeah, you're right in saying that we're probably struggling for a strong shortlist, I would say, of candidates.
If anyone's got any something that we might have forgotten about, especially off-field issues and incidents from this year, because we couldn't really think of many other than a couple of incidences of fans, but they have been a bit knobheadish. I think there was stuff with some Castleford, some Hull KR game, weren't there, earlier in the year and stuff, and there was an issue with some things around that and stuff, but I wouldn't really want to throw a whole fan base under the bus because of a small minority. But yeah, please do, over the next couple of days, get in some suggestions to us. If people need getting enough suggestions, that might help us out. We also, in terms of the SLP Dream Team, need to decide what we're doing about Jack Welsby, potentially someone that might think is a See You Next Tuesday. But my working idea, Alan, and I haven't shared this with you guys yet, is I think I'll put him in both the fullback and halfback categories. But if anyone, Saints fans, votes from in both categories, then no votes for him will count on that submission. That's my working idea at the moment. What do you think of that?
Putting aside his sometimes his behaviour, I think he's played enough in both positions to justify inclusion in both.
He's been good enough in both positions.
Exactly. So yeah, I would argue that there's a justification for doing that. But yeah, double votes will cancel each other out. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they will count for naught. I've accidentally pressed on a clip on Twitter when I'm just refreshing the RFL feed there. Okay, David Hunter got in touch, actually linked to Player of the Year, because we've been talking over the last couple of weeks about the Young Player Award and not really sure why people are eligible for it multiple years and that sort of stuff. And they are in our awards, so we've not stopped it before. But David Hunter said they should use the NRL system for rookie/young player, and he puts in quotes what that system is. It's players are eligible for the Rookie of the Year in their debut season and the subsequent 2 NRL seasons, but once a player has played his 5th NRL Premiership match, he becomes ineligible for Rookie of the Year in any subsequent seasons. So,
right, I think I understand that. So under that category, then Welsby wouldn't be eligible because he's played enough games.
Yeah, he's played far more than 5 games, hasn't he?
Yeah. And so in effect that would...
over previous seasons before this one.
So that would in effect do roughly what I suggested in terms of... Well, particularly if you've won it before. I think for me that should automatically exclude you perhaps as well as any kind of games...
Well, this would make it so you can't win it twice anyway, doesn't it? Because you can only do it in the season that you've got to a point of playing 5 NRL games, and it has to be within your first 3 seasons of making any appearances in the NRL. And I think there is a caveat around if you've already played a lot in the Super League as well before you go to the NRL. So, yeah. Yeah. So it would just literally be new players like either players that have emerged from nowhere but are a bit older, or young players coming up from the academies?
Yeah, because I would. There's an argument for rookie, particularly like if you've got players that are stepping up from the championship, maybe as well.
Yes.
That would be another argument because
like
if
a
players.
Frankie Halton this year, for example.
That's a very good example. A kind of player who's bloomed a bit later, perhaps, and has kind of got their opportunity and seized it. That might be where you kind of include the rookie or / young player award.
I think you could still have both.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, let us know what you think about those things, especially if you've got any ideas to put forward for the See You Next Tuesday. And any issues with anything what we discussed about how the sloppies are going to get put together. That form will be up over the weekend, so and then we'll give people a couple of weeks to vote on that. If you want to get in touch and get involved on social media, it's at Super League Pod on Twitter and Instagram, or facebook.com/Super League Pod. You can email superleaguepod@gmail.com or visit superleaguepod.com to get the info on each episode and links to the Google Forms for your fan views that we can share and discuss on the show. And don't forget to subscribe in whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, and leave a rating and review if you can. Right, we've stumbled our way through 10 minutes or so because I don't really want to get on to talking about the semi-finals, but we're going to move now into the Super League match reviews.
Needs most.
Right, Alan, it's a Super League. It was the Super League playoff semi-finals at the weekend, and the first game was played on Friday night at the DW Stadium. It was Wigan hosting the Leeds Rhinos, a big Leeds Rhinos contingent in the 12,777 that were there, so a vocal 4,000 Leeds fans and by the end of the game, very much less vocal 8,000 or so Wigan fans. Liam Moore was the referee. It was 4-2 to Wigan at half-time, but it finished 20 points to 8 in favour of the Leeds Rhinos as their momentum continued. And can we continue to keep doubting them like we have done throughout the last month or so? Certainly, I don't think we can anymore. In terms of the team stats, Wigan made 232 more metres and had an extra clean break, but made 5 more errors. Leeds had a slightly better average gain, like 0.1 metres per carry, and a slightly better team tackle success rate. I think that was like 0.4% better. But crucially, 3 tries to 2 and 4 goals to 0. What about the individual stats?
Yep, so for Leeds, it was Zach Hardacre with 100 metres, Cam Smith with a try assist and 40 tackles, and Jared O'Connor with a try and 41 tackles. For Wigan, Jay Field with 8 tackle busts and 204 metres, Sam Powell with a try, 45 tackles, 11 of which were for marker, Mike Cooper with 132 metres, and Willie Isa with 108 metres.
First fan view is from Alan Walker. He said, Wigan had Leeds tied up and bent over, ready for the taking. The far better side going in and reeked deep into the first half. Then Bateman got worried that Victor the Inflictor was going to take his England shirt, so tried to trump Radley's 2 yellows with a straight red. Not his go, but he had to go. Even with 12, Wigan coulda, shoulda, but the Loiners had just enough. Karma gets you. Now, if Salford can only just win the next 2 games. If only, Alan. If only.
Yeah. If only. Dr. Bob says, the prophetic hashtags, hashtag never in doubt and hashtag grand final ahoy have had a magical power. Got off the train just in time to see the second half. Couldn't quite believe it was happening. And that twinkles of the mighty 15. Bentley didn't punch anyone and Hardacre played with wisdom. Crikey, at this rate, I might get 100% in the quiz too.
Well, you're in charge of the quiz this week, I think, so we'll see how Bob goes. Esther said, Wigan lost because they didn't score enough in the first half when they had more ball and better position. Bateman was a thug and got what he deserved. I think she's made a very strong point about this not scoring enough in the first half.
Yeah. Fat Boy Rob says, you had one fucking job, useless twats.
He needs to stop fucking jinxing teams by changing his Twitter profile picture. Frogmore said, who had that result on their bingo card? Wigan looked dominant in the first half, but the Leeds defence held strong, and after French was injured, it seemed to swing momentum, and they went on with the job. Is this what happens when you rely on one player to score all of your points? well, Wigan had 3 of the top 5 try scorers, so that's fucking bollocks. Hate both teams, but still love Bentley. Happy for the lad. Hopefully he gets to play